lucky. They don't have serious problems, and they have lots of free time. They don't golf, and their families hate them. Like this fella, George Conway.
I think it was surprising. It's more of the same that we've been seeing for like 10 years now. But kind of with the protests too, I watched a lot of the people protesting in New York, and some of the signs, it's like, well, boy, I agree with that. I also think authoritarianism is bad. I also think that the government's too big. But then why are you out here protesting that, and then in a couple weeks you're going to go out and cast your vote for mayor for a communist?
Yes.
Greg Gutfeld and Kat Timpf just pulled off what no one saw coming. They turned George Conway's entire online persona into a live comedy roast. What started as harmless banter quickly spiraled into a full-blown takedown. The duo didn't just crack jokes. They dissected his entire internet existence with surgical precision. What they revealed was so brutal that George might consider logging off for good. From courtroom drama to cable news chaos, this roast had everything: irony, laughter, and just the right amount of shock to make you grab a snack and watch the train wreck unfold.
Hey, Donald J., how many kids did you start today? Hey, Donald J., how many kids did you start today? Hey, okay, that's it.
Pathetic.
I understand. I really, these people are ostensibly for small, they're protesting because they want the government to be smaller, and you don't see how that doesn't quite jive with a guy that wants government-run grocery stores. Like, how do you spend that time making that sign, writing it all out, and not thinking for 2 seconds?
Before we dive in, make sure to subscribe. It really does help. Now, about George Conway, the man who turned political outrage into both a passion project and a full-time gig. If Olympic medals were awarded for tweeting into the void, George would have more gold than Michael Phelps. He's made a career out of righteous fury, often aimed at the same administration his wife once defended. It's impressive, really. Few people could turn daily indignation into such consistent content.
He's pretending that he's like this scrappy underdog, but he really is an elite overdog that hasn't done anything of any difference, or so he has to pick fights. I mean, think about the response to the Palisades fire. Like, nothing has happened. That's on his watch.
Just when it seemed like the internet had stopped caring about his endless "I told you so" posts, Greg Gutfeld and Kat Timpf stepped in, and the results weren't pretty. Picture it. The Fox late-night set. The two of them casually sipping coffee while delivering comedic precision strikes. It wasn't loud, it wasn't angry. It was the kind of roast that leaves the target smiling before realizing they've just been verbally disassembled on national TV.
I talk with my hands a lot too. I think my hands are always doing weird stuff. And I'm not on medication, not to brag. But I never noticed it before, actually. I really never noticed it before this. I'm always so distracted by how good his hair looks.
George Conway, self-appointed hero of the political resistance, has spent years roasting pundits, presidents, and probably his own mirror reflection. But Gutfeld and Timpf didn't just critique him, they unraveled him. With their signature mix of snark and Southern-style politeness, they stripped away the grandstanding to reveal the man behind the tweets. It felt less like a roast, and more like a comedic operation performed with precision and a grin.
Oh yeah, did you hear that the Epstein estate is going to release the
birthday
book?
Yeah. This is not going to make Donald Trump happy. What do you think he will do to distract from this? Bomb Mexico? I mean, what do you see?
Look, I think his instincts will be everything that we previously saw. Do things to distract.
George has always been a fascinating contradiction. On paper, he's a Harvard-educated powerhouse who once helped impeach Bill Clinton. Online, though, he's that coworker who thinks Twitter threads count as civic duty. His tweets read like dispatches from a bunker, written between dramatic sighs and retweets of his own brilliance. Gutfeld and Timpf didn't need to exaggerate. They simply said out loud what everyone else was thinking. George takes himself way too seriously. Kat delivered her jokes like gentle punches wrapped in charm, painting him as a man who turned a law degree into an influencer brand. It was equal parts sharp and hilarious.
He's not too old to be fine after he got COVID, though.
Yeah.
Which makes it a lot harder for him to make me afraid of COVID.
Yeah, like, if he can get COVID and live, we could get anything, right?
I'm gonna be okay. I don't really think it's an age thing. I've said this before, right? The age thing, yes. There is a thing there. But I don't think his age even makes the list of the things that I'm concerned about.
Greg Gutfeld, on the other hand, looked like he was having the time of his life. He thrives on roasting self-proclaimed intellectuals, and Conway was prime material. He painted George as a man permanently glued to his phone, refreshing his feed like a caffeine-addicted philosopher searching for meaning. Gutfeld joked that Conway probably has a Trump Alert app that pings him every time the former president sneezes. What made this segment click was the chemistry, Gutfeld's dry wit paired with Kat's sly charm. Together, they turned political hypocrisy into comedy gold.
The Democrats have to learn this, that the media is not your friend, especially now. The more the media gets behind you, the more people are going to hate you because they don't trust the media anymore. They hate them.
Gutfeld compared him to that one guy who crashes a party just to complain about the playlist. Kat followed up by imagining his future podcast, an hour of dramatic sighs and doom scrolling. The laughter was real, but the message was deeper. They exposed the reality that George isn't just a pundit anymore, he's a brand. Every angry tweet, every emotional TV hit, it's all part of his personal franchise. Kat joked that his moods probably shift between furious typing and refreshing mentions, describing him as a man who screenshots his own tweets just to admire them later. It was comedy with a mirror attached.
List of he doesn't seem to know who's alive and who's dead, and thinks dead people are in the room with him all the time. He shakes hands with the air. He babbles, I was raised by Puerto Ricans. He said he had oil cancer, and all of us were just like, that's Joe! What?
The longer they joked, the clearer it became. George Conway had become exactly what he used to mock. The irony practically wrote itself. The man railing against political chaos had turned into one of its loudest performers. Gutfeld and Timpf didn't attack him. They reflected him back to the audience. What stared back wasn't a freedom fighter, but a man starring in his own political reality show. Kat nearly cried laughing before delivering the punchline. Politics has become performance art. George just happens to be one of its most dramatic players.
That's what she said, Emily.
That was George Conway?
Yes, he's clearly been hitting the Ozempic.
He looks different.
Yeah. I think we all know why.
That was not a catchy. This is a great example of somebody on the right who's now trying to be a part of left-wing activism and has no idea how to do it, and so he's just doing
so true.
impression of what he thinks liberal activism is, and he's doing it. Did he have a bandana wrapped around? That was George. Yes.
That's what made this roast so entertaining. It wasn't cruel, it was observational. Gutfeld and Timpf were poking fun at a culture where outrage sells better than logic and where even former insiders become influencers. George Conway is just the perfect example. Imagine being married to Kellyanne Conway during the Trump years, one of his biggest defenders, while you tweet daily about his downfall. Family dinners must have felt like live-action debates. Gutfeld joked they probably subtweeted each other from opposite sides of the table. Beneath the laughs was a sharp point. George has turned his anger into an identity, and that's where the comedy lies.
Republicans focus on crime, drugs, immigration, because you can score them. And the only issues you can score are the real ones. If you can't measure it, then it's not real. It's just a concept, like children's soccer.
Of course, George couldn't resist firing back. Within hours, he was tweeting cryptic one-liners, quoting legal jargon, and pretending not to care, which only made it funnier. The irony? Gutfeld and Timpf's segment gave him exactly what he thrives on, attention. He was trending again, though probably not for reasons he'd enjoy. Gutfeld leaned back, grinning, while Kat summed it up. Everyone in politics wants to be famous now. The audience roared, but the message landed. George wasn't roasted for being wrong. He was roasted for being addicted to his own importance.
Call an elephant gynecologist? Because I think we found a huge douche. Thank you. For all you 10-year-olds out there. Of course, Trump had to respond with a meme of him pooping from above.
George Conway has become politics' most dramatic supporting actor, always performing for an audience that's already tuned out. Gutfeld and Timpf didn't just mock him. They diagnosed him. He's suffering from an incurable case of main character syndrome, forever convinced the plot revolves around him. He can't stop tweeting, can't stop performing, can't stop believing that democracy itself depends on his commentary. It's tragic and hilarious at the same time. The viral moment wasn't just about George being exposed. It was a reflection of how modern politics rewards performance over purpose.
It seems blacks hate being shot at almost as much as white liberals hate Trump hats. So on one hand, you have citizens who want safe streets, and on the other, those who want an end to monarchy. One problem is real, the other imaginary. Like Jesse's back hair and Jesse's head hair. It makes you wonder how easy your life must be that you get to march against something that is quite literally living inside your head.
Kat closed the segment perfectly, deadpanning. It's almost impressive how George manages to stay perpetually outraged. It's practically a full-time job. She wasn't wrong. He's the self-appointed ambassador of outrage, complete with a brand, a following, and probably merch in the works. Gutfeld joked that even if George retired, he'd still tweet about it just to stay relevant. Their roast wasn't cruel. It was honest. They didn't destroy him. They revealed him. In the end, George Conway isn't the villain or the hero. He's the spectacle, a man so lost in his own political theater that he's become the punchline in someone else's show.